worn bold. It warms my heart to hear from you, my brother. Though I must confess, it raises questions as to why I hear not from Lord Nitro or young
My
Rock.
father is out gaining exercise, as our biped insists on having him in peak condition to sire the next generation of Barks.
It is a pity that Cuddles still refuses to accept you as her own pup after all these years. Still, you bear the name Bold.
I would prefer to bear the name of Bark, but if Cuddles wishes me to remain a bull, then so be it. Did you receive my tweet?
Of course, I received your tweet, but I must be honest. I find myself less stirred, less concerned than you might have expected. Your K9dom has a history of leaping to conclusions, of raising the alarm at every shadow. I recall well the days when the terrier K9dom swore that the biped Michael of Vic was the greatest scourge to ever befall the canine kind. Canines from every K9dom rallied in support of your cries. But in the end, the Michael of Vic's was but one of many bipeds in that foul group committing unspeakable acts against our kind. Their deeds, vile as they were, accounted for less than 5% of the torture and abuse inflicted upon canines. And yet we gathered at your word.
We were right about Michael of Vic's. What his group of bipeds did to canine kind was beyond imagination, trapping our fellow canines in a living nightmare.
The Mitt of Romney's, too, trapped a canine in a cage and drove half a day with it atop his car. A cruel form of torture. The Courtney of Loves and even the Jesse of James committed acts similar to those of the Michael of the Vic, though against fewer canines. But Terrier Kingdom fell silent over their crimes. And what of Paris of Hilton's, whose tales of torment against canines are whispered in every corner of the land? Not a bark or a growl from Terrier K9dom.
Yes, there are other monsters out there too, but we had no knowledge of them at that time. You must trust us. We may not know everything, but we have never been wrong.
No, working K9dom cannot take you at your word this time, Juan. We require proof. You speak of your fall from dominance, yet how many have you unalived in the name of protection?
I have yet to unalive anything as of late. Were I, it would be the demon squirrel that stalks the castle courtyard.
You claim dominance without ever having taken a life. Do you remember your first Studley?
Your Grace, I do not recall my first battle, but my last one remains etched in my memory, though it did not end in death. I served as Lord's paw to the previous Lord when a biped dared breach the castle while our Lord and castle biped were away. Instinct took hold. I clasped him in my jaws and shook with all my might. Again and again, I clasped and shook him until the biped lay still beneath me, whimpering. I halted then, uncertain whether it was my place to finish him or to await the Lord's command. So I held him there, immobile, whimpering, until the Lord and the castle biped returned to pass judgment. That night, I feasted on the finest steak, so I must have made the right choice. What of you, Lord Rocket? Do you recall your first?
My first was a coyote. In truth, there were 4. I worked security on a farm before my reign, young but eager, ready and willing. A pack of coyotes approached, intent on harming the goats. I unalived 3 swiftly, snapping their spines with the strength of my jaws. The 4th fled, but I tracked him down in 2 days' haste, slogging through the woods. He came running at me, this dumb, high-ranking coyote, thinking he alone could do what 3 could not. I caved at his throat with a single clamp of my jaw, probably shattered every vertebrae he had. Wolves, I was strong then. He whimpered and pissed himself. They don't tell you that part, how they whimper and piss. When I returned a day later, I was held as lord of my beads. The gratitude was overwhelming. Now I guard a bed and a couch. I haven't seen a goat or coyote since. Talk about a fall from dominance. You say they mangled your coat. Let us see what we are dealing with. Your description was vivid, but I will need to see with my own eyes before I can be moved to act.
For this cause, I am willing to reveal my greatest shame, though it brings me as much discomfort as pain. Behold, this is what our biped has done to me.
Wolves above, that is one of the most hideous sights my eyes have ever beheld. Tell me it is not permanent. I have witnessed much in my time. Meatballs cruelly removed from their spaghetti, ears mutilated beyond recognition. I have seen canines' claws amputated, forced to live like felines, their tails cut short, their ears pierced with metal loops. I have seen coats stripped away entirely from their back, leaving them to walk about bare. Canines starved into frailty or overfed into helplessness. But this atrocity stands among the most twisted I have ever encountered. Lord Nitro, he warned me of this peril, of losing position, and I, in my arrogance, ignored him. He spoke of the dread of meatball removal, and I thought it laughable. Yet here I stand, dominance lost, meatball probably on the verge of being removed. But hear me now, brother. I will not allow my coat to be destroyed for the amusement of a biped. This must end, and end it shall, by my own jaws if necessary.